see it. And when we do, we will get started with a brief prayer to the spiritual master.
Hare Krishna, Varshana Mataji.
We are,
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandat Pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so we are broadcasting here on Facebook. So let's get started. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Gurau Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Thank you so much, dear devotees, once again for joining the call here today. So we normally do the Bhagavad Gita on Fridays. And what is the verse that we are supposed to do today? Quickly, tell me. Last week we had talked about memory. Right? How much that it takes? In 1 week, 17% of whatever you learned goes away. That's why it's very important to repeatedly visit the topic.
10, 12, Mataji.
Are we doing 10, 12 today?
11 and 12.
11 and 12, correct, right? Okay. So what we're going to do today here is actually, we are going to split the session today, and we're going to have 2 parts of it. We will cover Bhagavad Gita later part, but the beginning here, we are actually going to dedicate to one of our students who used to come to our class, silently sit beside her daughter, and who left her body last year, Jaya Nandha Mataji. Any guesses? Whose mom was she? She used to come and sit in our class. Right next to our Mother Shraddha-devi Dasi Mataji, also known as Meera Jamna Das. You remember? Her mom used to come and sit right next to her. She was very sick last year and then she left her body. So Mother Shraddha-devi Mataji, a wonderful daughter to her mom. I had seen her take wonderful loving care of her mom. So we will, talk in general about mothers. And also we have Pushpa Jagjeevan Mataji here on the call with us. And Mother Shraddha-devi Mataji, would you like to introduce her to us?
I'm Meera's cousin. Jaya Nandha is my Masi.
I see.
The younger sister. And I live in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. You're visiting her, or you have come for the annual celebration or ceremonies?
I'm here at home. I'm on visual screen.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So fantastic. Then here, so we will just get started. And I think we have one more person join us today by the name Dasaha. And how do we, Dasa, I'm not able to recognize the phone number. Could you?
Yeah, he's here for the first time. He's
Oh,
actually
okay.
in Mayapur right now. He's a good, we know each other from Fiji.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
he,
Dasa Prabhu is the one who kind of introduced you to Krishna
yes,
consciousness. Is it the same
yes.
Prabhu? Dandath-pranam,
Mhm.
Prabhu. It's my fortune to have you here on the call. And thank you so much for guiding Madhva Sangini Mataji into this. She got initiated last year, as you know. So that's perfect. Walking in the path of devotional service. And I would say that it's a lot to, there's a lot that goes towards the credit, a lot of the credit goes towards the mother who brings up the child in such a wonderful consciousness. And so I had talked about mothers a few years ago and just thought that I'll pick up some of the slides from there and we'll talk about that. There, we should never leave an opportunity or let go of an opportunity to glorify our mothers, because they do so much. Some of us are mothers. And there's, I also see an iPhone too. I just want to make sure I'm not missing out anybody in introducing. Mother Sangini, do you have any more of your relatives here?
That's probably my daughter. She's not home and she's listening from her iPhone.
Okay, fantastic. So that's very nice. Okay, so let's get going here. Let me see. Do I have anything up here? So we'll just spend our time glorifying mothers. I think that is what would please the mom who has departed, as well as the moms who are here, and it'll definitely please Krishna as well, because whenever we glorify devotees of Krishna, which I'm sure that Jaya Nandha Mataji was definitely a devotee of Krishna. I could see her attention by which she used to come and sit in these classes. And so Krishna always likes that as well when we do that. Okay, so I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And let's see how that's going to take me, because that's always a challenge. And who else joined us here? Can you see the PowerPoint presentation on the whole screen? Can you see that?
Yes,
Can somebody?
Yeah, I can
Yes,
see.
Mataji.
Awesome. And then Garima Mataji, Lakshmi Mataji, Nandha pranam for that, right? So glorifying mothers here. I just wanted to bring, there's a very nice poem that I had learned when I was growing up as a 11-year-old child. It was by Lord Alfred Tennyson. And he was a very famous British poet. And of course, we are in India, so we used to have a lot of British influence at that time. And so this whole poem is about that there's a lady, she's a very young girl and married, obviously you can see, to a very handsome guy. And he is actually a warrior. So he's in the army. And he goes to the army, she's waiting for him, but then he dies. And so they bring her, they bring his dead body home. And this girl is, just stuck by grief. She just doesn't know how to handle that, because she has a small child, life was going very good, nice husband, loving husband, and then this thing comes. And as Prabhupada also says that these miseries, they just come on their own. And so does happiness also come on their own. So he says that most of the times we are running after happiness. And Prabhupada says that don't run after happiness, because both happiness and distress, they will come in your lives on their own. There's no way to define and decide when a disaster is going to come my way. I remember when I had come to USA many, many years ago, almost 25 years ago. I was just a few months into this country and my mom was very sick and they said that she's going to leave her body. And I was in the middle of the most competitive part of the year as far as generating money for the company went. And everybody was going full throttle. It was the last quarter of the year. And here I was standing in front of my manager and I was asking her that I want to take leave. I want to go to India. And so where everybody was giving extra hours and extra days of work, I was actually asking for time away. So I went and told her that, I'm very sorry that, this has come at such a wrong time. And then she turned around and said, there's no good time for your mom to leave. And that's when the reality stuck, So these disasters, they will come in life. These are milestones in our lives, and we have to just learn to bear with them and move on. And I think a lot of the devotional practices that we do are geared up towards handling these crucial and these difficult moments in life, right? So this young lady who was there, her husband has been brought home. And so she's so struck by grief that she's not able to cry. And when she's not able to cry, everybody is worried about that, because then, a lot of bad things can happen to your body if you're stuck with grief like that. So they really wanted some tears to come out of her eyes. So the poem goes, home they brought her warrior dead. She neither swooned nor uttered cry. All her maidens watching said, she must weep or she will die. Then they praised him soft and low, called him worthy to be loved, truest friend and noblest foe. Yet she neither spoke nor moved. So they tried saying, okay, let us just talk about him, and maybe that'll make her feel, bad, and then maybe that'll make her cry. Stole a maiden from her place, lightly to the warrior stepped, took the face cloth from his face, yet she neither moved nor wept. So they uncovered her face to say, like, okay, she'll see his face and then she will cry. So she's a young girl, she's doing that, right? And then here she is, right? Nothing happens to her. She's one stuck, just like that. Rose a nurse of 90 years, set his child upon her knee. Like summer tempest came her tears. Sweet my child, I live for thee. So this is such a touching moment. And this poem speaks volumes about what a mother is. She's a young, beautiful lady who was in love with her husband so much, and just thunderstruck by the fact that he's no longer there, that he's dead. When she looks at her child, all of a sudden, so many responsibilities, so many emotions rise in her heart. And then she decides that, I have to live for thee. And this is what most of us do. Most of us do this, right? Sometimes life is so difficult for us. It's like, I just want to give up. And then we'll turn around and say, oh, who's going to take care of this little one that we have over here, right? So question here. What is your mood after you hear this? How do you feel? Are you angry? Are you happy? Are you wonderstruck, thunderstruck? Are you crying? How do you feel? Anybody wants to volunteer? Do you have feelings?
Crying.
You are crying? Okay. Only one person is crying?
Crying.
Yeah. Right. So these are some of the facts of this material world, right?
Sometimes we won't cry, Mataji. And after a long time, suddenly we think of them and then we start crying.
Yes. And that's what this story is, right? That's what this is telling you, that she was thunderstruck and she was not crying, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you'll cry tomorrow also with the early Mataji.
It makes
practically, I
you
had that experience, Mataji. When my husband left, I didn't cry at all. I was just praying God, wherever his soul is going, just take him carefully. That's it. I didn't feel anything. But if any time I'm sitting alone and I think of it, then I get. At that time, I didn't. Even my sister-in-law, his older sister, was here. She was holding his hand. No, I was going around and doing the parikram, and then I was just saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I was saying loud, and I said, I cannot see Yamadutas came or Vishnudutas came. I don't know anything. We cannot see anything, no? So I was just praying. Whoever came, take him in good place. That's it. But at that time, I didn't have any. My sister-in-law said, you didn't cry at all. Why? And without him, I never ate. Without him, I never If he comes 5 minutes late also, I used to feel so waiting for him and like that. But everything is gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
But now I feel that sometimes if I get, I just burst out.
Yeah. Different people react differently. And like I was saying in the beginning, that devotional service helps us handle these painful moments that we have in our life. And like you said, you still think about your husband, and we will still think, and the soul will still think, and the soul is sentient. So the soul will still feel bad. And it's a very natural thing. It's a very natural thing. And in India, we are very vocal about our emotions, about displaying our emotions, right? I mean, there are villages in India where somebody dies, there's Rudali, where people get together and they cry together, right?
They cry.
And over here, in this part of the world, people can kind of don't want to talk about death at all, because it adds like a, spoke in the wheel of enjoyment.
That Hare Krishna Mahamantra helped me a lot, Mataji. That time.
It will, yeah.
Yes, I was chanting, that's all.
Yeah. And that's what Meera Mataji was also doing in those days. I remember having those conversations with her. I was getting ready to go to the yatra, and then all this was happening. Yeah. So basically, here, there's a lot that a mother does. There's a lot that a mother does for us. And there is no end to how much of gratitude that we can pay towards a mother. And one of the best things to do is, while the mother is alive, as Madhav Sangini Mataji was doing, she was taking care of her mom, right? So the mother is alive, you take care of that. Don't wait for until too long, right? And then talking about the Vishnu Dutas and Yam Dutas, there's a question that always comes to mind, that who's going to come to take us, right? And when do they come? When do the Vishnu Dutas come? Of course, we are devotees, so we are expecting that,
Chanting.
Vishnu Duta is going to come, right? So I was talking to Guru Maharaj about it, and he actually said that when you're a devotee, the Vishnu Dutas are always with you. It's not that they come at the time of death. They're always with you. And once you have to leave the body, they'll just facilitate the leaving of that body like that. So they're always around you. And then in some of the cultures, you also see people talk about guardian angels. So the guardian angels are the Vishnu Dutas, they are there. They are also guiding us and taking care of us and preventing us from accidents and disasters and things like that there. So one of the things that Prabhupada says about, mother and mother's love, actually, he says that the love a mother has for her child is the closest one can get to selfless love of God in the material world. Okay, so we are all geared to, we are looking at and aiming for to get prema, right? Prema pumarto mahan. So the highest welfare for a human being, a soul in a human body, the highest benefit that a highest gain for a soul is to find Krishna prema, or love of God, right? So love of God is a transcendental activity. And what Prabhupada is saying is that you want to know what love is, what love for Krishna is, and you want to know what Krishna's love for us is. If you want to know that, then compare that with the love of a mother. A mother's love is selfless. It's completely selfless. And it is so, it is just, so admirable, and the extents to which the mothers will do for the children, and the unconditional love that the child does. And that's the kind of love that Krishna also has with us, right? There's a story, I mean, I remember 40 years ago when I used to be in India, I used to travel in buses from one place to another place. I was working in Haridwar and living in, a different place, and I would back and forth. I was not married, so I would be coming to meet my parents and, like that. And so on the buses, people used to sing. They would sing a song, which was like a story. And then, of course, at the end of it, you would give him some money like that. So there was one song that really stuck my mind. I don't remember. He was singing it very beautifully. I don't remember the tune also. It's so many years now. But the essence of the story there was that that there was this boy, right? There's this boy and his mother, and they have a very nice relationship. And then the boy falls in love with a girl, and he gets married to her. so then, they start living together, but the daughter-in-law doesn't get along well with the mother. And so she fights and she goes away. And of course, the son follows and then goes there, tries to win back the wife. Wife doesn't come and she wants to stay at home and all that kind of stuff. And then, so he starts living with her, but still, the wife cannot tolerate the fact that the son still loves the mother. And so she gets so jealous and so envious. So she tells the husband that, I'm going to leave you and I'll stay with you only on one condition, that you go and bring me the heart of your mother, So that is basically that you kill your mother and bring the heart to me. And so he's blinded by love. So he just goes and he kills the mother, takes out the heart. And as he's bringing the heart to his wife to say, like, honey, I brought it for you, there was a stone on the way and the stone fell. He stumbles in the fall and he falls down. And he falls down, the heart from his hand, flips over and falls on the ground. And from the heart, and this man is fallen on the ground as well. And from the heart, a voice comes. And it's the mother's voice, and it is saying, son, are you hurt? So that's the level of a love a mother has for a child. That no matter what the child does, and we are all Krishna's children, and he's also tolerating us. I don't know what kind of things we all have done in so many lives. And Krishna is still there with an unconditional love. All that he's saying is, turn your face towards me, take one step towards me, and I'm going to take 10 steps towards you. So that's Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada is saying, that, if you want to find out what this is in this material world where we all are, and then just do that, right? So there are some mothers, which are high. I just wanted to mention those high in Krishna's list. Of course, who is this?
Devaki.
Devaki, right? And she went through so many tribulations. And every time Krishna comes and takes a avatar here, then she comes. And so this one, we know how she was tortured by her brother Kamsa. So many of her children were killed. And then, she bore all that. And then, of course, we know the rest of the story there. Right? So that's one type of a mother that we had, Devaki. Right? Then we have Yashoda. Yashoda is a totally different kind of a mother. She is, so Devaki is a little bit in awe and reverence of Krishna, but Yashoda is totally bindas. Her relationship with Krishna is totally a mother-son relationship. She doesn't even believe that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why we see in this Damodar Leela, she's running after him with a stick, that I'm going to beat you. And then later on, she tries to tie him up, right? Tie him up and say that I'm going to tie you, right? And once when Krishna opens his mouth and shows her the entire creation inside his mouth, she just faints and says, this cannot be. There's some evil or some witchcraft that is going on here. This is what happening to my son. Every now and then she would faint, right? So when the Trinavata demon came, the tornado demon, and pulled Krishna to the top, and then he falls down, and then Krishna falls on top of it. She's so scared that Krishna might have died from the fall. Or when Krishna is in the Yamuna and he's dancing on top of Kalia, he jumps after the ball. She's so worried that Krishna will be killed. So all the time she's worried.
Putana comes also. It's a huge body.
Same thing, huge body.
Little child does that.
Right. So her love for Krishna is just amazing. Just amazing love. I mean, she faints. She just faints at the thought what's going to happen to my son. And it's also, the love. Most of the mothers love to feed their children. And with Krishna, it's always like that. So she'll say that she knows that Krishna is going to go to the forest and he's going to play with his kids, so he won't eat food, right? Most of her kids have done that. They brought the tiffin box home without eating anything in the school because they were so into it, right? And then so she will get up in the morning and she'll say, okay, and then Uddhav would be there. Then she'll say, okay, Uddhav, just make sure he eats his lunch. And here's a lunch box. And by the way, before you go there, first have your breakfast properly. So she would, make Krishna eat the breakfast. And then as they would be getting ready to leave, and then Uddhav will say, okay, fine, pick up the tiffin box. He'll say, no, wait. I don't think, Uddhav, you're going to be that careful. You'll also get immersed in the playing. So let me do one thing. Let me feed him half of the lunch also. So now on top of the breakfast, half of the lunch also goes into Krishna's tummy. So that is mother's love. That's mother's love, always wanting to take care of the child, always worried that what's going to happen. And Yashoda has to let go of Krishna and allow him to go and do his duty of, tending to the cows and all that. But as mothers, and most of us here on the call are mothers, as mothers, we know and we want to actually follow the child to the school. Right? Right or wrong? Tell me.
Right.
Right. So when the child is only 3 years old and they're crying and they're looking at you with tearful eyes and like, Mommy, I don't want to let go of you and I don't want to go to school. And you're like, oh, I wish I could just go and sit behind my little child. Who's going to take care of my child? What if he wants to go to the bathroom, he or she? And, what if he gets cold? Whatever. There are hundreds of things that the mother will think about the child, right? And would want to go with the child everywhere. And guess what? Who does that? Who is it who follows us like that? Follows us everywhere like that? Who is it? With so much love.
Krishna.
Krishna, exactly right? He stays in our heart. He lives in the heart, won't let go. And that's why Prabhupada in that verse is saying that the closest that you can try to understand and experience Krishna's love for you, is to look at the mother. And of course, as we progress in devotional service, then we start seeing Krishna in everything and we start understanding, we start noticing that Krishna is indeed our mom and he is guiding us like that, right? So Yashoda is another mom. And then we see in Bhagavad Gita, this is a very wonderful, Uddhav is saying this verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam to Vidur. So, aho bakiyam stanakalakutam jigham sayapaya yat aptasadhavi lebhe gatim nāty-ucchritaṁ tatonyam kamva dayalum sharanam rajema. So what he's saying is that he's talking about Baki. So Baki is the sister of Bak. So Bak and Baki are two sisters. They are demons. Right? So Baki, the other name for Baki is?
Putna.
Putana, correct, right? So he's glorifying. And what is he saying? He's glorifying Krishna. And so he's saying, Uddhav is saying, alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he, who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So it's the amazing thing about Krishna is that when Krishna looks at people, what he will do is, if there is good and bad, he will ignore the bad and he will just focus on the good, which is very opposite to what we do. We will just focus on the bad and sometimes even on ourselves, right? Like if we prepared 5 dishes in a party and one dish went bad, all the time our mind will be just focusing on that bad dish. Oh, this went bad, this went bad. Oh, hello, look at the other 4 that went nicely. We don't do that, right? At a higher scale, Krishna does this. At a higher scale, Krishna, although Putana came to kill him, but then Krishna says, oh, but she offered her breast to me. So that makes her my mother. Like a Dhatri will do, a nurse will do, right? In the olden days, the nurse also would feed the child. And so what did he do? Instead of, of course, he killed her. That is true. But then after dying, what is death, right? Just the soul stepping out of the body, right? So he gave her the position of a nurse. So Putana, who actually tried to kill Krishna is so merciful that he ignored all that part that she came to kill him and just said, oh, but she offered me her breast. So she's like my mother. I'm going to place her and make her a nurse in Golok, right? So that is the height and that's the extremes of mercy that Krishna bestows on all of us, right? And then we also see an amazing thing about the mother and, the material love and the spiritual love. So we all know about the Brahma Vimon Leela, that Brahma sitting on his Brahma Loka right at the top can see everything that is happening in the in the Brahmand. And so he could see all these things that Krishna is doing here in Bhumandala in our Bharatvarsh. And so he's unable to understand that how can such a small child be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he says, okay, I'm going to, make a test. I'm going to give a test. And so what he does is that Krishna is in the forest. He steals all the calves and all the cowherd boys, right? They were all small boys. So they were not tending to the big cows. They were small age. They were just tending to the calves. And so he steals all of them and, puts them in a cave and hides them. And then when he says that, okay, I'm just going to hide them and I'm going to watch it for a little while. Now, what Brahma forgets is that whatever is a little while for Brahma becomes a very long time here on this planet Earth, because the times are different as you go upper on the planets. So he doesn't know, but actually 1 year, it took 1 year. So what happened during these 1 year is that Krishna sees all that. He's Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he's in a small body, he still recognizes that. And then he said that, okay, he has done this, he's hidden all the cows and calves. Okay, I can see where he is. Like, Bhavishyami cha bhutani mam cha vedana kachana. He knows everything, past, present, and future. So what's the big deal if you hide something from Krishna? You can see his eyes can pierce and see through rocks and stones and water and walls and mountains. He can see everything. So he knows what Brahma has done, but what he does is, because he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can expand himself. So he expands himself into the various cows that were hidden and the various the calves, not cows, sorry, the various calves that were hidden by Brahma. He replicates himself into those, as well as he replicates himself into the cowherd boys. And then they all play there. And when it's time in the evening, they just go back home as usual, as if it is business as usual. So when these calves go home, it's a very natural thing for a calf to, start running towards the mother. So the cows have come back earlier and these calves are now coming back. And then similarly, all these cowherd boys, they go back and they meet their mother. Now, because these cowherd boys and these special cows were not material calves and material cowherd boys, they were actually expansions of Krishna. The love for a soul for Krishna is so strong that we might not even know it, we might not even decipher it, but unconsciously, subconsciously, it will manifest itself. And that's exactly what happened over there. So the mothers, which is the human mothers, when they saw these cowherd boys, as well as the cow mothers, when they saw these calves, right? They had a very special attraction for these because it was Krishna. Like that. And of course, the rest of the story you all know, that Brahma realizes his mistakes and begs forgiveness, and the cowherd boys return and all that kind of stuff happens. But by the time there's 1 year that goes by. So what I'm just trying to emphasize here is that, there is a love for a mother, for a child, but if the child happens to be Krishna, if the child happens to be a divine child, then the love is amazing. So, and also if the child happens to be a devotee, the mother's love will be even more for the child there. Then, of course, we talked about the Damodar Leela and the special mood in which Yashoda Maiya handles. This is from, this is a little bit dated figure that I have. I'm pretty sure that they have gone up. So there were about 2 billion mothers in the world. And actually the number of mothers exceed the number of fathers because there is polygamy, etc. So take care of that. And then about 4.3 babies are born every second. And I think that number would be also gone up here. So that's the kind. There are mothers and mothers and mothers being, created here. And then our Shastras talk about, 7 types of mothers. And since we are talking about mothers today, and our special Nandha Mataji, who was a wonderful mom to Mother Sangini-Devi Dasi, and the others from her family who have joined us, we just, we just take shelter. We just take shelter in the thought and in the concept and in the idea that the soul lives forever. And Arjuna, when he was when he blew his the conch shell and was ready to fight the war, and then he sees all the Kauravas standing in front of him, when most of his relatives and grandfathers and maternal uncles and fathers-in-law and all that, all standing opposite him and ready to fight him, he just gets, very upset at the thought of death and the thought that they're going to die. And that's when Krishna gives him the best knowledge that anyone could give. And that is also the best knowledge that we have. And we, coming from the Orient, can be very proud of the fact that we come from a civilization that is very spiritual in nature and believes in the existence of the spirit, and also believes in the eternal existence of the spirit. So which basically means that we will lose our parents, we will feel bad about it, and but we also know that they did not get annihilated. They're still there. Your mom's soul is still there. It just changed. And as second chapter of Bhagavad Gita says that, that as you change from one clothes to another, right? In the night we are in a sleeping suit. In the morning we get up, we cast it off. No problem at all. You take a shower, get into the office clothes like that, right? So we do that all the time. Right? So Krishna is saying the soul leaving the body is also like that, right? And so the hope for us is that, and the good, the faith and the hope and the shelter for us is the fact that the soul lives forever. And in the second chapter, he says that, that wind cannot dry it, weapons cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it. What a wonderful thing. All these things can be done to the physical body, the material body, but the soul nobody can touch. And soul by nature is very joyful, right? Soul is very joyful. And so we should, and what are the gifts that we can give to somebody who passes away? Like while they're alive with us, we can do hundreds of things. Hundreds of things, and superficial and gross in nature, right? We can cook, we can clean, we can take care of them, we can talk to them, we can sing to them, we can take them out for fun, grocery shopping, clothes shopping, take them out to movies, take them out to shows, circus, whatever, planes, aeroplanes, take them here and there, right? But the best gift that a person can give in this realm is, while they're alive, is to give them the gyan, give them ātma-gyan, expose them to books, expose them to Krishna consciousness, take them to the holy dham, right? Take them to the temple, drive them to the temple. Those are the kind of things that we can do to them while they are with us. And when they leave, it's just that they have left. It's not that they have annihilated. It's not that they have gone. It's not that their identity is gone. No. Krishna says that, and never was there a time when you did not exist, Arjuna, nor these kings, and never will there be a time when they will cease to exist. So the mom lives forever. So when the heart feels sad and the heart is suffering from the separation, at that time, two things we can do. One is that we should put on some kirtan, because the kirtan has a very soothing effect on our mind. If we think that at this juncture, while we are grieving after 1 year, if you think that we're going to sit down and meditate, it will be a very difficult thing, because mind is chanchalam hi mana, Krishna. Mind is very, very chanchal and gets agitated very quickly. And death is a very agitating event. And because you feel so helpless in front of that. And so when that happens, kirtan is a better option. The vibrations are going to have an effect on us. And then now we think that, oh, my mom liked dosa, then never, oh, I wish I could make this. Oh, I learned this new dish from my mom. Oh, I wish she was here. The mind will put these kinds of thoughts in our mind. But the best thing that we can do for a person who's gone from here is to pray for them, wherever they are, because soul is there. And these transcendental vibrations are going to touch, even if you see, even if you see them, even if you don't see them, they are there for them, right? So let's chant for Jaya, Nandha Mataji. Let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times, all of us together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare.
Hare, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Okay. So then these prayers are transcendental in nature. So they are not confined to this material world. They will reach wherever your mom is, even, whichever planetary system that she's in, far or near, they will reach. And that's the beauty of this mantra, that it will have its effect, right? So talking about mothers, there are a lot of mothers that we think about, and we normally think about the mom who gave us the physical birth. The biological mom is the mom that we mostly think about, right? But our Shastras actually talk about 7 mothers, and we should be revering all the 7 mothers. Atma Mata Guru Patni Brahmani Rajapatnika Dhinur Dhatri Tatha Prithvi Sapteta Mataraha Smritaha. So Chanakya Pandit is talking about 7 mothers. And we'll just quickly go through these 7 mothers. And the first one is one's own mother, the wife, that is 1, the wife of the Guru. Number 2, wife of a Brahmin. Number 3, wife of a king. Number 4, the cow. Number 5, the nurse. Number 6, and earth are known as the 7 mothers of a man. Okay. So real mother, wife of social master, wife of a Brahmana, wife of a king, the cow, nurse, and the mother earth. Okay. So biological mom has got very strong connections because the child stays in the womb for so many days and then separated, and the mother takes care of the child all along. This is a very famous story, and you find this story in all the cultures of the world, in Arabic culture, in Indian culture, in the Christian culture. Everywhere you'll find the story. The names will be different, but there's basically about 2 women who come to this wise man, and they ask this wise man. There's a dispute going on between the 2 of them because there's a child, and both of them are claiming that this child is mine. So those were not the days when you could do a DNA testing or whatever testing you do to determine who is the mother. I don't even know whether you can determine that or not. But anyway, so such facilities were not there. And so this man, the wise man, was just struck with, how do I decide? So he sits there and he thinks and he thinks and he thinks. And then he says, okay, let's do one thing. Both of you are fighting for the child. Let's cut the child into 2 pieces. And each one of you can have the 1 half, right? The human body is bilaterally symmetrical, so we'll just, cut in like that. And so immediately one of the mothers said, no. You let the other one have it. Let the other one have it. Don't kill the child. And
She's the real mother.
There you go. She's the real mother. And that is what a biological mother really is. Okay. Then we have wife of the spiritual master, right? Wife of the spiritual master is like a mother, and we know Sandipani Mani's wife was very, very affectionate to Krishna and Balaram, and they used to go and study, go to him to go and study. And then the wife of the Brahmana, right? So there are Brahmanas there who are Brahmana of your family. Then his wife is also like a mother to us. Then we have wife of the king. So king's wife, the queen is also is our mother, like Ram and Sita. Sita was the mother. People used to talk to him as Mother Sita, Ma Sita, right? Because she's considered to be like a mother there. Then cow, and we know cow gives us so much of benefit. In fact, they say that when a child is born in the family, the cow, will start to produce more milk so that the child can have it. And this is the human child, not its own child. And then when the human child in the family falls sick, then this cow will go and produce special milk so that when the child drinks that milk, the child will be cured. So even though it's not a biological mother or, any of the other categories of mother, the cow really behaves like a mother for all of us. And then, of course, we have nurse. Our nurse, whoever was there, took care of us when you were born, was nurse. And I always remember bringing up Bhakti-Vatsal Prabhu because he's a nurse by profession. And I've watched him take care of devotees when they come to the yatra and selflessly serving them. So, I put this picture there. And of course, there is Mother Earth. And Mother Earth is also known as our mother. She provides for us, right? She provides all the food for us and, the shelter for us, the support for us to walk. Where will we walk otherwise, right? And we do all kinds of nonsense on her. And she still tolerates and tolerates and tolerates. And that's a typical mom, right? Our mothers also tolerate different kinds of nonsense that we do to her there. Right? So when I talk about mother, then we can't just stop without talking about the stepmother. So the question would be like, where do I place my stepmother if you have one, right? Like that. So it's an amazing thing that we read in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto itself, where there's a chapter on Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. So this is after the Mahabharata war is over. Krishna has stayed in Hastinapur for some time to pacify and be, to give support to Yudhishthir, who's feeling very, very bad after the war because he thought he was the cause of the war and everybody's death like that. So he stays back there, but then after that, he's returning to Dwarka. And there it says that, in the narration, it says that Lord Krishna did not distinguish his real mother from his stepmothers. And very interesting note from there is that the stepmother, who's the wife of the father, right? So our stepmother, whether we like her or not, but she's the wife of the father. And he says that the father is a spiritual master because there will be a spiritual master external to the family, like a guru or whatever. But the father's duty, the first duty of a father is to be the spiritual master to the child, right? And elsewhere it says that, if you cannot give spiritual education and upbringing to your child, then don't become a father. And don't become a mother like that if you can't do those things. So this father is your spiritual master. And so the spiritual master's wife is also your mother, right? So even if it's a stepmother, by that connection, by that logic, stepmother should also be treated with respect. And we see this, right, in the story of Ramchandra, right? Where KK is saying that under the influence of Mantra, her maidservant, she asked for 14 years of vanvas and exile for Ramchandri. And Dashrath, he was bound by some wishes that he had granted, boons that he had granted to KK earlier. So, and being weak also, he allowed her to and get away with that. And then she's Ramchandraji's stepmother, but the way Ramchandraji handled that situation is really amazing. And that's a guidance to all of us on how to behave. It's very, very difficult what he did, but nonetheless, he did it like that. Talking about mom, I thought this is a nice one to lighten up our mood here. And it says, Mother's Day, they have this, we have hired a few people to fill in for you while you relax on Mother's Day. Right? So you can imagine a mother does the work of 20 people. And that's the power mothers have, and from where they get the energy and the spirit to do that. That's the amazing part of it. Okay. So when we look at the duties that a mother does and how much she takes care of the child, of the family itself, is this is a very nice saying that I got here, and it says that to the world you are just a mother, right? And I'm looking at Mother Sangini, well, my mother's mom was a mom, right? Others might think of that, but to your family, you are the world. There's some amazing play of words over here, right? To the world, you are a mother, but to the family, you are the world. Everything revolves around the mom in the family. One day the mom falls sick, and that's it, the family stops. And of course, the mother's touch is always there. And we know that mother's touch was there. Prabhupada was also, very wonderful, showed many wonderful qualities of being a mom. As you can see here, the loving gesture that he's doing, another child over here. And he used to lovingly cook at such a ripe age. He was 70 plus, and he would cook in a foreign country with not all the equipments that are needed. And he would cook and feed to his disciples. It is such a wonderful display of motherly love that he have, right? And so on this day, let us all together make this little, offering to the mother. And you can read it aloud on your side as well. Dear mom, from your womb to your lap, I have had the safest home on earth. From your hug to your kiss, I have felt the purest of love. From your soft slaps to teary prayers, I have seen the purest care. From my birth to my death, you will always be my first love. I wish one day that I could tell you how much I love you, Ma. And we should make it a point that while they are there, we tell this to our mothers before it gets too late, right? To express our gratitude and express our love for them. And then what would be a best mom to be in these? Prabhupada says, she's giving instructions to somebody and saying, so take care of these children. If you can make one child Krishna conscious, it is a great service. Krishna will be very pleased, right? So we can just imagine when we look back at the life of Jaya Nandaji, that here is our Meera Jamna Das, now known as Madhav Sangini, after she got initiated, which is a very big step and very huge leap in devotional service. Who was behind that? It was her mother. For the nice upbringing that she gave, whatever it took for her to help nurture and enable and encourage her to proceed in Krishna consciousness and succeed in Krishna consciousness and progress in Krishna consciousness. So for that, we are extremely grateful and extremely helpful for that as well. So Prabhupada, amazing mother for all of us. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Right? And Jai to our spiritual masters, who are our spiritual masters. Let us bow down to them as well. Right? And then, of course, always remember that we have 7 kinds of mothers that are listed by Chanakya Pandit, but the topmost mother that anybody can have and will always, always have, and who will never, ever leave you, is Krishna, who says in Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, Pitaham asya jagato, mata dhata pitamaha, vedyam pavitram omkara, rikshama vyajur evacha. So he's saying, Pitaham. So we lose all these people in our life, right? Mother, father, grandfather, grandmother, all these things we are going to lose in our life in the material world. But Krishna is there as all in one, package. He's there for us always, always, always. So our mood should be that we should be focusing on Krishna, right? And he's there everywhere. Garbhodakshay Vishnu, from his navel, this whole material universe is born, right? So follow. Just like ducks follow their mothers, we should also follow our mother, which is Mother Krishna. And what is Krishna telling us about following us? He says, Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarv papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. So abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Have that faith in Krishna, that what is going to happen to me is happening for my best. Right? And Krishna is so kind. It says that in the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj, in the Purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna is so kind that to his devotees, that if you go to him, then the combined kindness of millions of mothers like me will be surpassed by his affectionate and tender dealings. So this is explained in that chapter. This is Suruchi, Dhruv's real biological mother. Suruchi is talking and telling him about that. So there is hope. There is so much hope. And also remember, like, just as a mother always has more affection for the runt of the litter, right? The runt of the litter is like for animals that give birth to many, many children in one go. Like cats will give 6 and dogs will give 6, like that, rabbits 12 or whatever. So that's called the litter. Many, many puppies. So many, many small babies are born. And usually one is a little bit, less strong, and, you can see sometimes disfigured, sometimes smaller, like that, right? Doesn't even look like a cat. So the mother will have more affection for this one, the runt of the litter. And the good news for all of us is that in this world, we are in this material world, all of us who are here in this material world are actually the runt of Krishna's litter. Krishna has created this whole material world. Out of that, 1/4 have fallen down here in this material world. We are among them. So we are the runt. And so the hope for us is that the mother is always going to love the runt of the litter more. So we'll get more love from Krishna. That's the hope for us in Kali Yuga as we are navigating through this difficult age. And the best mother that we can have by our side is to have Krishna as our mother, even as we cherish and we honor all the other mothers that we have in our life that Krishna so gracefully and graciously gives to all of us. Okay, so I'll stop over here, and then Mother Sangini Mataji, would you like to say something about your mom, or whatever you're comfortable with?
No, I really appreciate you doing this in the last minute when I called you yesterday, and you are doing this session on her behalf. I really enjoyed your class about mothers, and it's so true. And my mother really enjoyed listening to you a lot of times, most of the times when she could. And I'm very grateful that she was able to listen to you and other Krishna Kathas on YouTube. She really enjoyed it. And especially when it was a Zoom class that was recorded, and I would turn it on for her. And they show all the participants, and they're doing namaste to all the other sadhu sanghas. And my mom really thought they are doing it to her. So I explained it to her. No, this is recorded. They are doing it to each other and their guru. She goes, no, mane jove chhe lokon. They are doing it to me. And she would do this each time they do this. She would do this, and with such a big smile that after she would forget if I tell her. When I put on that show again, she would do this, and it gave her such joy doing this to all the devotees that I thought, okay, I'm not going to explain to her anymore. Let her feel that joy.
Absolutely. And it was not a wasted emotion or a wasted gesture, because when you bow down to devotees, that's the best thing that you can do. Because Krishna loves his devotees, and anybody who loves his devotees, automatically Krishna loves them.
Yeah.
In as much as we love. Yeah. And then one of the things that you said, I mean, looking at it from a mundane perspective, a person looking at your mom's behavior from a mundane perspective might just laugh at it and say, like, how naive is it, that can't you see that this is a replay going on, and how could they be doing namaste to all of you and all that? But when people behave like that, it is actually showing their innocence. And innocence is so precious. So very precious that means that they are not being contaminated by the workings of this material world. Right? I mean, material world doesn't take long to completely mess up with our minds, right? The way we have to do the dealings and all that. So you did the right thing. Let her enjoy. There's no harm. She's happy at the sight of devotees. And actually, one of the signs of Krishna consciousness, one of the signs of being advanced in devotional service is that a person feels happy and overjoyed by seeing a Vaishnava. When you see a Vaishnava, and he says that if you're not happy when you see a Vaishnava, there's something wrong. Like that. So that's what it is. Yeah. Amazing. I miss her in my classes, and sometimes see
she was always sitting beside me.
Besides you, and sometimes I'm like, who's sitting there? I can hear some noises, some sounds, and then you turn the camera and like, oh, it's your mom. That's how I came to know her. Yeah. So we cherish, and one of the things that I would advise is that when she lived such a wonderful life. Yeah, right. A wonderful life is a life that is spent in Krishna consciousness. That's the parameter of wonderful life, right? And she did that. And towards the end, she was engaged in so much of Krishna Katha. So that's just amazing. So we should celebrate her life. On this 1 year of her passing away, instead of feeling unhappy, we should feel happy that such a wonderful person came and was part of our life.
And before a few days of her passing away, because she was in the hospital one day and next day she left, but she wasn't feeling too good in the last week. So I was thinking of, I'll take her to the doctor. I'll take her to the hospital. But at night, she would wake up and she would call me. We were in the same room and I was always up. So she goes, maneke thai che. She was restless. And I put Prabhupada's Hare Krishna mantra. And it was so beautiful. And she would hum with it and fall asleep and I'm so glad I did that. And those are still there. So it is really, I feel really happy that she would do that. And in the last minute when she was leaving her body, I was there. I said, what's happening to her? Because all the people, a lot of staff were there. They were going to resurrect her. And my mom had told me, never put her on life support and don't resurrect her. To my understanding, that's what she meant. So I said, no, don't resuscitate the heart, because it was her heart. So I didn't know what a person would go through. And I started, all the staff was there and I was near her bed and I looked at her face and I go, what's happening to her? What's happening to her? And I said, don't resuscitate. So they didn't do anything. They all watched and I didn't know she was dying. I thought something was happening to her. And I started chanting Maha Mantra. And she had left. Her eyes just looked up and she left. And I didn't know she had left. I go, what's happened? What happened to her? And something is happening to her. And the staff says to the doctor that, can you explain to her what just happened? So even in her last minute, in my voice that was cracking, I was half crying, but I remembered to say Maha Mantra for her.
Wonderful.
Om Krito Smara, Kritam Smara, Krito Smara, Kritam Smara. You remembered it. Why? Because Krishna makes you remember it. Krishna from
But
within
I
your
couldn't
heart.
say it. I started saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And I didn't care what the other staff were going to say. But then I couldn't say it. I just said Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And then she just left. Oh, she was leaving while I was saying that.
Yeah, so the last words that she's hearing is Krishna. It's amazing.
Wonderful session. Wonderful.
Yeah, nice life. Yeah, nice life and a glorious death. To be surrounded by a loving daughter and who's chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Very few people have this opportunity in a foreign land.
That is true.
Yeah, you did a fantastic job, and so celebrate your mom's life. Fantastic. Yeah. So I was just noticing that we are.
I also want to pray for my Masi, Pushpa's mom. Right now, she's in New Zealand and her daughter my cousin is looking after her. But she's going through a very hard time right now because she's 93 years old. So she has lost her sight. Her thinking is gone. She's not recognizing anybody. So can we say Maha Mantra for my Masi, Pushpa's
Yes,
mom?
we can say that 11 times. We can do that. And would you like to lead it? You can say, you can lead it and we will follow with you.
Okay.
Make sense? Okay, yeah, we can get started now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare Bol. So I noticed that we are 6 minutes past the hour. So maybe we'll continue with the Bhagavad Gita. Next Friday, we can do 6.11. 6.11 and 12 are basically on doing Ashtanga Yoga and meditation, and talks more about that. And we all know that that is Ashtanga Yoga is there, and for people, it complements what we do, but what we do is Bhakti Yoga. So talking about when you're talking about a devotee, and glorifying a devotee and appreciating them, that's also devotional service, because indirectly we are glorifying Krishna. So we leave the chapter for next week, where we talk about where you should place the asana. Should it be too high? Should it be too low? Where should you be looking? Where your nose should be? Where your eyes should be? And what sort of a lifestyle you should be living. So like that. So we'll take that. But if there's anything else, anybody else wants to speak here? For a couple of
Already time is up. No, next week I wanted to ask something.
You want to ask? Okay, yeah. You can also text on the channel, and you can ask me there. Okay.
Yes, Mataji, I also, Meera Mataji, I'm really I really remember her sitting next to you, and especially today, you see, I still feel that she's around you, and I'm really praying that she is with Krishna. He has given shelter to her at his lotus feet. I'm 100% sure about it. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Yes, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Name
Hare
Kevalam.
Name Kevalam.
Kalau
Kalau
nasti
nasti, kalau nasti.
nasti eva katiranyata. Right. If you're doing it, then you go back to God.
We all
Thank
pray
you,
for
Krishna.
her.
Dasanu Das Prabhu, would you like to say something? Since you have been so instrumental in Madhav Sangini Mataji's spiritual journey. We are just fortunate that you joined here.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu. Yes, we
Krishna.
can hear you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, this is Ghanshyam Das to Das. Actually, I'm actually at the moment in Calcutta, India, in ISKCON, Calcutta. As you all know that Prabhupada took birth in Calcutta. We went to his place yesterday. And also took initiation from Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Calcutta. So I'm very much privileged to be here in Calcutta, and more privileged to be in association with all of you. Yes, I'm very happy that you are all doing very good satsang, which is very important because that's the main thing in our life. Is the three most important thing in our life is sadhu sang, number one, number two is sadhu sang, and number three is sadhu sang. That's the most important part, is associating with each other, like-minded people. So I'm very glad and very pleased that all of you are doing very nice work. In particular, you are all supporting Mira, my cousin there.
Thank you.
You really appreciate your effort to give us support. And I'm hoping, I know she's planning to come to India, hopefully next year, next February. And I hope that some of you can also join her as well. So once again, my appreciation to all of you for supporting Prabhupada's mission. Prabhupada's mission is so important in our life that we make everyone a devotee of Krishna. So all living entities can go back home, back to Godhead. And once again, if any of you are coming to India, please look up. I'll be able to do any seva. We very much appreciate that. And once again, we remember Mataji, Mira Ben's Mataji's mother, Jaya Mataji, on this particular day on her Virubhava. We are praying. In fact, we are very much indebted for her as well, because she gave us good association in Fiji when we were there. And remember her good memories of her good nature, her very devotional nature. We appreciate that. So I won't take much of your time. Once again, thank you very much. Hare Krishna to all of you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai Shri
Yeah.
Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. My cousin Vrindavan Chandra is here. He's a devotee too.
Oh, awesome. Yeah,
He
you have a
just
family
joined a
of
little
devotees.
late,
I
but
saw him. Yeah, I just saw that he was joining us here.
yeah. He
Nandha
lives
Pranam.
in
So where is
Sacramento.
Vrindavan? Sacramento, is it?
Yeah, so each time I say I've been to Sacramento, I go to his place.
Place. Awesome.
And he's been a devotee for many, many years.
Awesome.
He's a disciple of Sri Tamal Krishna, right?
Awesome. Very nice.
Oh, we cannot hear you. Unmute.
I think he's on mute.
Yeah, he's on mute. Vrindavan Chandra Das, you're on mute.
I think he's having trouble finding
Yeah,
the unmute
yeah.
button. Yeah, that's what happens usually.
Okay.
He's not able to mute. Technical
You
difficulty.
are on mute. Unmute you, Vinu. Yeah, he's probably cannot hear us.
No, I think he can hear us, but he's just not able to unmute himself.
Yeah. on mute, Vinu.
I can't unmute others. It's against
Oh,
Earlier I could do that, but then, during COVID, they came up with a law and they said you can't
right.
unmute or
Oh, okay.
switch on somebody's camera and things like that. So I can't
Okay.
hold you much help. Yeah. I can only ask him to unmute, but is there anything else, Meera Mataji, you'd like us, Madhav Sangini Mataji, you'd like us to do for you on this day?
No, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. It was our privilege to honor a devotee like your mom, and of course the blessings of our spiritual master and of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much all the devotees for staying with us this long. I know some of you are on the East Coast and it's really late in the night, but to stay long to glorify our devotees, indeed amazing seva. Thank you so much. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha
Devacha Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Gopremanande Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. Thank you, Shraddha Mataji. Thank you, Madhavi
Thank you so
Sangini
much.
Mataji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji, for the wonderful class.
Yeah.